Oakland, California. Broadway and 8th Street, Chinatown. June 1966. Tuesday evening around 7 p.m. A kid had his arm elbow-deep in a dumpster behind a noodle shop. He was pulling out a takeout container that still had food in it. Fried rice, maybe half a portion. He opened the lid, sniffed it, decided it was good enough, and started eating it with his fingers. Standing up, in an alley, next to a dumpster, like this was normal, like this was dinner. He was maybe 12, maybe 13, skinny, not malnourished skinny, street skinny, the kind of thin that comes from eating when you can instead of when you should. His clothes were too big. His shoes had holes. His hair hadn't been cut in months. He had a bruise on his left cheekbone that was turning yellow, which meant somebody had hit him about a week ago and nobody had done anything about it. The door of the building next to the noodle shop opened. A man stepped into the alley carrying a garbage bag. He was heading for the same dumpster. He stopped when he saw the kid. The kid froze, rice on his fingers, container in his hand. The look on his face was the look of an animal caught eating something it knows it shouldn't be eating. Not guilt, calculation, fight or flight. Can I run faster than this guy can grab me? The man didn't grab him. He set the garbage bag down. He leaned against the wall. He crossed his arms. And he watched the kid with an expression that wasn't pity, wasn't anger, wasn't any of the things that adults usually show when they catch a child eating from a dumpster. It was recognition. That rice is at least 2 days old, the man said. The kid didn't respond. He was still deciding whether to run. The noodle shop throws out the good stuff around 9. If you're going to eat from their trash, at least wait for the fresh batch. Now get this. The man leaning against that wall was Bruce Lee. He was 25 years old. He'd been running a martial arts school in this building for 2 years. The Jun Fan Gung Fu Institute. 2nd floor above a parking garage. No sign out front because Bruce didn't want walk-ins. His students came by referral only. Movie stars, martial artists, college professors. People who could pay. People who had heard about the Chinese guy in Oakland who was rewriting everything the martial arts world thought it knew about fighting. And right now, that Chinese guy was standing in an alley watching a kid eat garbage. The kid looked at Bruce, then at the door, then at the dumpster, then back at Bruce, making calculations that a 12-year-old shouldn't have to make. You gonna call the cops? The kid asked. For eating rice? No. Then what do you want? I want to throw this garbage bag in the dumpster. You're in the way. The kid stepped aside. Bruce tossed the bag. It landed in the dumpster with a thud. He wiped his hands on his pants and looked at the kid again. What's your name? Why? Because I asked. Marcus. Marcus what? Just Marcus. Bruce nodded. The way he nodded when he was processing information. Not done asking. Just filing. You live around here? Just Marcus? Sometimes. Sometimes means no. Marcus didn't answer. He shoved another handful of old rice into his mouth, chewing fast. The speed of a kid who had learned that meals get interrupted and you eat as much as possible before someone takes it away. Bruce watched him eat. For about 30 seconds he just stood there, arms crossed, watching. And I need you to understand something about Bruce Lee to understand what happened next. Bruce grew up in Hong Kong. Kowloon. Not the nice part. The part where street kids slept in stairwells and ate from garbage bins and fought each other for pocket change. Bruce wasn't a street kid himself. His father was an opera performer. They had a home, but Bruce ran with street kids, fought with them, got into so much trouble that his mother sent him to America at 18 because she was afraid he'd end up dead or in prison. Bruce knew what a hungry kid looked like. He'd been around them his whole childhood. And he knew the difference between a kid who was hungry because dinner was late and a kid who was hungry because there was no dinner. Marcus was the second kind. Come upstairs, Bruce said. Marcus stopped chewing. What's upstairs? My school. And food that isn't 2 days old. What kind of school? Martial arts. You a karate guy? No. Then what? Something better. You coming or not? Marcus looked at the takeout container. Half empty. Cold rice with some mystery sauce that was starting to change color. Then he looked at the door Bruce was holding open. Warm light coming from inside. The smell of something that wasn't garbage. He threw the container back in the dumpster and followed Bruce inside. Stay with me on this one. Because what happened upstairs is the part that changed this kid's life. The school was one big room. Wooden floor. Mirrors on one wall. A heavy bag in the corner. A wooden dummy near the window. Simple. Clean. The kind of space that doesn't need decoration because the work that happens in it is the decoration. But Bruce didn't take Marcus to the training floor. He took him to a small kitchen in the back. A hot plate. A rice cooker. A wok that looked like it had been used 10,000 times. Bruce opened a refrigerator and pulled out a container of leftover chicken. Real chicken. Cooked that day. He scooped rice from the cooker into a bowl, put the chicken on top, added some soy sauce and sesame oil, and set it on the counter in front of Marcus. Eat, Bruce said. Marcus looked at the food, then at Bruce, then at the food again. What do I owe you? Think about that. A 12-year-old kid, standing in a stranger's kitchen, asking what the food costs. Not because he had money, because in his experience nothing was free. Everything cost something, and the cost was always more than the thing was worth. You don't owe me anything, Bruce said. Eat. Marcus ate, and this time he didn't eat fast. He ate slow. He tasted it. Because this was hot and fresh and real, and he hadn't had hot, fresh, real food in long enough that his body needed a minute to remember what it was. Bruce sat across from him on a stool, drinking tea, watching, not asking questions yet, letting the kid eat, because Bruce understood something that most people don't. You don't interrogate a hungry person. You feed them first. The questions come after the food. That's just basic respect. Marcus finished the bowl, looked at the empty dish, looked at Bruce. There's more, Bruce said. But first, tell me something. What? The bruise on your face. Who did that? Marcus's hand went to his cheek. Instinct. Covering it. The way you cover something you've been told to keep hidden. Nobody. Nobody hit you? I fell. You fell on somebody's fist? Marcus glared at him. The glare of a kid who has been asked this question by teachers and social workers and adults who ask and then do nothing with the answer. Why bother telling the truth when the truth doesn't change anything? If you've been with me this far, hit that subscribe button. Because Bruce's response to that glare is the reason this story exists. Bruce didn't push, didn't interrogate, didn't do the adult thing where you keep asking until the kid either cries or shuts down. He just nodded, refilled the rice bowl, put more chicken on top. Eat, he said. Marcus ate. Second bowl. Slower this time. His body was catching up. The food was hitting his system like fuel hitting an empty engine. You could see it, the color coming back to his face. His shoulders dropping from the defensive hunch they'd been locked in since the alley. When he finished, Bruce took the empty bowl, washed it, dried it, and put it back on the shelf. Then he said 5 words that Marcus would remember for the rest of his life. Same time tomorrow, okay? Marcus stared at him. You want me to come back? I want you to eat. You need to eat. The dumpster is not a meal plan, so come here instead. Same time. I'll have food ready. Why? Because I've got a rice cooker and you don't. It's not complicated. Marcus came back the next day, and the day after, and every day after that for 3 weeks. Same time, 7 p.m. He'd show up at the alley door. Bruce would let him in. There'd be food on the counter. Rice, chicken, sometimes noodles. Sometimes vegetables that Marcus had never tried and approached with deep suspicion. What is that? Marcus asked, pointing at a piece of bok choy like it might attack him. It's a vegetable. I know it's a vegetable. What kind of vegetable? The kind that keeps you alive. Eat it. It looks like it's already dead. That's the idea. We killed it so you could eat it. Welcome to cooking. Believe me, Bruce Lee had a sense of humor that most people never saw. The movies showed the serious fighter. The philosophy showed the deep thinker. But the man himself was funny, quick, the kind of guy who could make you laugh while teaching you something you didn't know you needed to learn. 3 weeks in, Marcus asked the question Bruce had been waiting for. What do you do here? Like, what's the school for? I teach people how to fight. Can you teach me? Can you show up every day? I'm already showing up every day. For food. I'm asking if you'll show up for something harder than food. Marcus chewed his bok choy. He'd gotten used to it. Even liked it now, though he'd never admit that. What's harder than food? Discipline. Showing up when you don't want to. Working when your body says stop. Failing at something 100 times and doing it 101. That sounds terrible. It is. That's why most people don't do it. And the people who do it? Bruce smiled. The real one. The one the cameras never caught because it only came out when someone asked the right question. They stop eating from dumpsters. Marcus started training the next day. And here's what made Bruce Lee a different kind of teacher. He didn't start with kicks. Didn't start with punches. Didn't start with stances or forms or any of the things you'd expect a martial arts instructor to teach first. He started with push-ups. 10. That was all Marcus could do. His arms gave out after 10 and he collapsed face first on the wooden floor. 10, Bruce said. Good. Tomorrow we do 11. The next day, 11. Then 12. Then 15. Then 20. Then 25. Each day 1 or 2 more. Never a jump. Never let's try 50. Just 1 more than yesterday. Incremental. Patient. The training philosophy of a man who understood that strength isn't built by destroying yourself. It's built by expanding your limits 1 push-up at a time. After 2 weeks of push-ups, Bruce added sit-ups. After that, stretching. After that, footwork. After that, basic strikes. Each skill layered on top of the last. Each one earned. Nothing given for free except the food. The training had to be paid for with effort. And Marcus paid. Every day. 7 p.m. Ate first. Trained after. For 3 months. In month 2, Bruce did something that Marcus didn't understand until years later. He enrolled Marcus in school. Not asked. Not suggested. Enrolled. He drove to Oakland Unified, sat in the registrar's office, filled out forms, listed his school's address as Marcus's residence, and talked to the principal until Marcus had a spot in 7th grade. I'm not going to school, Marcus said when Bruce told him. You're going. I haven't been to school in 2 years. I don't even know what grade I'm in. 7th. I checked. I'll fail. Probably. First. Then you'll stop failing. That's how learning works. You can't make me go. You're right. I can't. But if you don't go, you don't train. That's the deal. School in the morning. Training in the evening. Food both times. Take it or leave it. Now I need to be honest with you. Bruce Lee was not running a charity. He wasn't a social worker. He wasn't a saint. He was a 25-year-old martial arts instructor who had a wife, a baby son, a school to run, and a Hollywood career he was trying to build. He didn't have extra time. He didn't have extra money. He was stretching himself thin to do what he was doing for Marcus, and he did it anyway. Not because it was convenient, because he saw a kid in an alley eating garbage and couldn't walk past it. That's the whole explanation. There isn't a deeper one. Some people see a problem and look away. Some people see a problem and talk about it. Bruce Lee saw a problem and fed it dinner. That's just who he was. Marcus went to school. He hated it. He was behind in everything. Reading, math, science. 2 years of missing school had put him in a hole that felt bottomless. But he went. Every day. Because the deal was the deal. School or no training. And Marcus wanted to train more than he wanted to avoid fractions. By the end of 7th grade, he wasn't failing anymore. Not excelling. Not failing. A C average. Bruce looked at the report card and nodded. Not bad. It's a C. Last year you were eating from a dumpster. A C is a miracle. Next year we get a B. They got a B. And then an A. And then Marcus graduated high school in 1972 with a GPA that got him into community college. Bruce was in Hong Kong by then, making movies, becoming the most famous person in Asia. But the envelopes came. Plain white. No return address. Enough money for tuition and books and a small apartment that wasn't an alley. Bruce died in July 1973. Marcus was 19. He heard the news on the radio in his apartment in Oakland. The apartment Bruce's envelopes paid for. He sat on the edge of his bed and stared at the wall for a long time. He didn't cry. Not because he wasn't sad. Because Bruce had taught him something about grief that most people never learn. Grief is not about what you lost. It's about what you do with what they gave you. And Bruce had given Marcus everything. Food, training, school, discipline, purpose. A reason to stop eating from dumpsters and start building something. The envelopes stopped after Bruce died. Marcus expected that. He got a job at a grocery store. Night shift. Went to school during the day. Graduated from community college. Transferred to Cal State East Bay. Got a degree in social work. Because what else would you study when a man pulled you out of a dumpster and into a life? You study how to pull other people out. Marcus Cole, he took a last name when he enrolled in school. Picked Cole because it was on a soda can and he liked how it sounded. Became a social worker in Oakland. Worked with homeless youth for 34 years. Fed them first. Always fed them first. Then asked questions. Then offered help. In that order. Because that's how Bruce did it, and Bruce was right. He ran an after-school program out of a community center on 14th Street. Martial arts and homework help. Food provided. No charge. The program was called Second Bowl. Why Second Bowl? A reporter asked him once. Because the first bowl fills your stomach. The second bowl is when you start to feel safe. That's when you know somebody actually cares. Not when they feed you once. When they fill the bowl again. Marcus kept a photograph on his desk at the community center. Bruce Lee and a skinny 13-year-old kid standing in front of the Jun Fan Gung Fu Institute on Broadway. The kid is wearing clothes that fit. His hair is cut. There's no bruise on his face. And he's smiling. Not a big smile. The small, careful smile of a person who is learning to trust that the food will be there tomorrow. On the back of the photograph, in Bruce Lee's handwriting, 4 words, same time tomorrow. Okay. Marcus retired in 2019. By then, Second Bowl had fed and trained and tutored over 4,000 kids. Some of them became teachers. Some became social workers. Some became nurses, mechanics, cooks, electricians. A few became martial artists. One became a judge. All of them learned the same lesson. Not from a kick. Not from a punch. From a bowl of rice. You feed someone first. Then you teach them. Then you watch them become something. That's not martial arts. That's not philosophy. That's a man standing in an alley with a garbage bag in his hand, looking at a kid eating from a dumpster, and making a decision that takes about 1 second and lasts forever. Come upstairs. There's food that isn't 2 days old. That's it. That's the whole system. See a hungry kid. Feed the hungry kid. Keep feeding the hungry kid until the hungry kid isn't hungry anymore and can feed himself and then feed somebody else. Same time tomorrow. Okay.